Earlier today, I was talking in Berry Crape's Discord. She's an awesome VTuber, by the way. You should go follow her when you get the chance. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. And she was talking about how one of her most recent reaction videos got false flagged by YouTube for some sort of endangerment or like dangerous content or something like that. And we were all joking around about like how, oh, the automatons have taken over YouTube and their automatic flagging system is obviously fucked up. But as I was thinking about this, I couldn't help but have one thought cross my mind, which was, man, this is still 1,000 times better than whatever nonsense Twitch supplies to us. For me personally, my vendetta against Twitch goes a long way back. I think it starts back in 2021 when Ludwig announced that he would be leaving Twitch for an exclusive partnership with YouTube, only for him to go back to Twitch later on. Now, there are two main inflection points that I can think of for when Twitch really started to go on a sharp decline, like off a fucking cliff, up until the most recent incident with the latest TwitchCon. The first was back around 2019 when Alinity was kind of making a name for herself on the platform through all the controversy and whatnot. For those of you who are too young to know who Alinity is, all you need to know is she's an IRL streamer. And if you know anything about IRL streamers, that should hopefully be all the information you need. There were a lot of things Alinity was doing that were problematic, and Twitch pretty much took no action and turned a blind eye against it, despite the outrage from the public. So that's inflection point number one. But from that point between 2019 and 2021, when Ludwig left, things on Twitch were relatively quiet from my observation. And I know this because I was streaming on Twitch as an affiliate. It's kind of a funny story how it happened, but I distinctly remember it because it was during a time when COVID was at its absolute worst. I had a SoundCloud Artist Pro subscription to keep all of my music up, you know, my catalog of over 300 songs. And to help people out during COVID, SoundCloud sent me an email at one point announcing that they were partnering with Twitch to get artists with the Artist Pro subscription a fast track to becoming a Twitch affiliate. And I was like, you know what? I want to monetize more of my content online. I'll take it. Fuck it. And I didn't have the problems with Twitch back then that I did now. So I was fast-tracked to becoming an affiliate on Twitch. I literally just had to fill out a form with like some of my info and also my Twitch username, my SoundCloud username, just to verify my accounts were going to be properly linked. And I streamed on Twitch for a while as an affiliate. But then when I caught wind of Ludwig, who was the biggest streamer on Twitch at the time, when I caught winds that he was leaving Twitch for the reasons he did back then, that made me have second thoughts about like, I wonder if it actually is a long-term sustainable thing for me as an aspiring creator to continue streaming on Twitch and pouring more of my energy into Twitch as opposed to on YouTube. So it was a difficult decision to make, but I ultimately decided I was going to dial back my activity on Twitch a bit over time, and I don't think I've streamed on Twitch literally in years from that point. But there were a couple of things that solidified the fact that I would never be touching Twitch again, despite the fact that I'm monetized there and not on YouTube yet. I don't fully remember which order these two things happened in, but the first thing that happened was when it came out the reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned. And Dr. Disrespect's YouTube channel has allegedly been remonetized. That's a whole other can of worms, but this episode is about Twitch. The reason Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch came out, and the first thing I couldn't help but think when that hit my Twitter feed was Twitch spent 4 years covering this up. Dr. Disrespect getting banned in 2020 was one of the most high-profile things to happen in terms of Twitch bans in, like, ages. And at first we thought it was just Twitch being Twitch for no reason, but when the allegations came out in 2024, because a Twitch insider leaked it, a Twitch insider had to blow the whistle after 4 years of the platform covering this up. What are we doing here, man? I mean, I talk about all this in my old Twitch diss track Simp King as well, which only seems to be aging better and better with each new development that involves the platform, but I digress. And the other thing that happened was Twitch's seeming thing of actively discriminating against VTubers. They had a lot of attire policies that even to this day are still at least somewhat skewed heavily against the favor of VTubers. And throughout the years, there have been numerous high-profile cases of VTubers being banned from Twitch for no reason. Project Melody suffered from this, Coconuts suffered from this, Megalodon suffered from this, Shondo suffered from this, and it just made me think, because their accounts were reinstated only shortly after they either reached out to support or there was public outcry from their fan bases. For these high-profile cases where a lot of these VTubers are actually partners on Twitch, they're not just affiliates, they're partners, I couldn't help but think, like, why doesn't Twitch have somebody on their team who can actually communicate this shit and talk about why it has happened? Why did Shondo have to post an email from Twitch stating the reason for such, like, a high-profile thing? Oh yeah, and the third thing was Twitch's dumb, stupid, artistic nudity policy about, like, something about performativeness, and that's when, you know, presenting certain parts that would otherwise be unacceptable would be allowed. Yeah, they only took a couple of days to walk that back upon realizing it was a bad idea, but any person with the foresight would have realized that this policy should never have been implemented in the first place. Who at Twitch is calling the shots to think, oh yeah, let's do this thing and it's totally not gonna blow up in our faces in very little time at all? And nowadays, Twitch continues to have problems with OnlyFans models spreading AIDS in people's feeds. And this all culminates in the latest TwitchCon. I'm not gonna go into the full details of what happened because there was a lot that happened. I mean, at a previous TwitchCon, somebody broke their fucking back. That goes to show how bad Twitch is handling shit. But at this most recent TwitchCon, a fairly high-profile streamer, I literally forget the name, was approached by a fan and, like, unsolicited hugged, and security took woefully insufficient action to stop it, and they let the guy get away, which is, like, absurd. And this was her personal security as well, so I don't know what they were doing at TwitchCon. Like, did they tell the personal security guard, like, hey, you know, you can't beat the shit out of this person even though they obviously fucking deserve it? And the other thing that happened was several VTubers, including, I believe, Iron Mouse, Doki Bird, and Chibi Doki, had the gifts that were given to them by fans thrown out on the grounds that Twitch staff suspected that there would be a bomb inside one of them. Tell me how that makes sense. You want to throw this thing out because there might be an explosive device in it, so now you're putting it in the dumpster to possibly blow up and destroy the truck. Even as someone watching from the outside in, Twitch has so much dirt that comes to light, I just can't get away from it. And I don't understand why they do these things. And this also ties into the whole VShojo case, you know? When Iron Mouse left I mean, I wrote my song False Play about it. When Iron Mouse left VShojo, alleging that they had been underpaying talent and misappropriating over $500,000 in charity funds, the thing that I immediately proceeded to scrutinize was the fact that, like, oh, VShojo was founded and owned by Gunrun. Guess what? Gunrun was a founding member of Twitch staff. Twitch poisons everything it touches. It's purple like lean, and it's full of opiates that will just toxify everything that gets on it. Except the VTubers. The VTubers are cool. And then there's also the whole thing about that guy who was, like, using a shock collar to abuse his dog, and he was doing that on stream. There was also, like, a live birth. I didn't catch any of this. I just overheard most of it through hearsay. But yeah, Twitch is a fucking mess at this point, and I'm glad I left the platform back all those years ago, and I don't understand at this point why VTubers continue to stream on it. The VTuber community deserves a lot better than this, and I really think, even though it has its own problems, and no other viable competitors have risen to really take the spot as a creator-first environment, YouTube, in my opinion, really is the best we've got. I mean, in this podcast pilot episode, I talked about the algorithmic garbage, and that's something I've been trying to fight for the past handful of years. And then also there's what happened to Barry Crepe, which I touched upon at the beginning of this episode. But through all that, I still think that's 1,000 times better than whatever nonsense Twitch is supplying at this point. And it's only going to be a matter of time before the next big thing happens to Twitch, and that might just lead the next high-profile streamer to think, hey, there's a lot of bullshit that happens on Twitch. Maybe I should give YouTube a shot. I really want to see Iron Mouse come to YouTube full-time. I really want to see Michi Mochivi come to YouTube full-time. I want to see Henya the Genius come to YouTube full-time. I have a lot of Oshis who I just want to see finally leave Twitch, because even though the monetization is good, the long-term viability doesn't look like it to me, especially as someone who grew up on these career YouTubers like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Dan TDM, and so on. I think there are still remnants of that in the modern day in the YouTube landscape. It's just a lot harder to fight for now because there are so many more creators who want to make it big. And then also there are the sins of Mr. Beast and Cocomelon's very existences. I have another episode lined up where I will talk about Mr. Beast because, my God, I have been a hater since 2020. I swear. But back on track, yeah, Twitch is cooked. It's more cooked than the fucking lean that Lil Wayne has been giving himself early onset dementia with. And I just find it so disappointing that, you know, so many of my Oshis feel the need to continue streaming on this platform. And in fact, some other creators I like have built their foundations on this platform as well, because there's so much that happens with the platform, and they have Amazon backing them up as well. So presumably they have access to so many different resources, but the platform really has them locked in. I guess for the creators who continue to stream on Twitch in spite of what has happened over the years leading up to the latest TwitchCon, it really is kind of a ball and chain because of the monetization, which they've been getting shrinkingly smaller cuts of over time. Wow, I completely forgot about that, but now that I mention it, it's coming back to me. Oh my God. They're kind of being held captive there because that's where all of their audience is, and it's where they probably make a lot of the money that they do. It's why I always try to tip my favorite VTubers through Streamlabs or Stream Elements, unless they, you know, have something specific done for YouTube super chats. It's just an awful situation all around, and I think a lot of creators would be in a better place if they just ceased their activity on Twitch, came to YouTube, and tried it out full-time for a while. I would certainly be more inclined to watch them live at that point. Because, like I said, this vendetta that I have against Twitch runs deep because I have borne witness to so much that has gone on the platform, and some of the bullshit that I and others have put up with on YouTube is very small, for lack of a better word, compared to what goes on Twitch. And I think we really need to face the facts here and decide which platform we want to represent. But yeah, that'll be about it for this episode of Snake Stories. I just wanted to talk about this because I was, again, talking in Barry Crepe's Discord server about what happened on YouTube, and anytime something like this happens on YouTube, I just have this inclination in my brain to draw the comparison to Twitch. And I'm not saying YouTube is perfect by any means, obviously, but I think Twitch has some serious problems that have gone unaddressed for too long, that in similar situations, YouTube has at least made something of an effort to resolve properly, such that fewer of their creators feel inclined to move away from the platform, the way I can foresee people on Twitch doing the same. But yeah, that'll be about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, the music you are hearing in the background is brought to you by Stability Music. Information and a link is in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Thanks for listening.